How I came to buy this. I go to this flea market in this very rural area in Indiana. So with all these white people here, I said I'm gonna buy one of these flags because I wanna see what their reaction is to a black guy buying a Confederate flag. I'm in line and this younger white dude says, "Man, I gotta ask you, why you buying the Confederate flag?" And I can tell he asked what a lot of people were wondering. So a lot of ears start to tune in. And I'm like, youngster, stand down. I got this.
Where's the lie? Like, seriously, where's the lie?
He ain't lying.
It's a matter of opinion if I'm right, but I'm leaving off for now to go outside, putting shores and obligations on our part.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Matter of Opinion. I'm your boy Walls P. Now, before we get started, please take the time to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, share it amongst your friends, and if you want to follow us on our other social media platforms, the links are in the description. And if you're into sports and you want to follow us on our sports channel, the links are in the description. This dude went to one of the whitest places in America, one could argue the whitest places in America, and actually bought a Confederate flag. Now, you know we're fresh off the hill of what Nikki Haley said.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Talking about the country was not built on racism or racism doesn't exist in the country. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the gist. And she was catching a lot of flack for what she said. Because let's face it, America, we all know, have a crazy history when it comes to slavery, oppression, and all of this stuff.
He ain't lying.
Not just to black folks, to a multitude of folks.
It just asked Nikki, why you change your name? That's not your given name. Remember your father? He had to go to an HBC, teach at an HBCU because where you came from and that name you had, you couldn't teach at no PWI. You better stop playing, Nikki. We pull receipts here. Yeah, we pull receipts here.
I see where you're going.
I mean, all you got to do, okay, let's just go back. Let's see. We go back. No, America has never been racist. Ask the Native Americans what they think about that. Ask the blacks. Ask about the Japanese in the intermittent camp, what they think about that. The Trail of Tears. Ask them what they think about that.
Yeah.
Ask them about Civil War. Ask them about Civil War. Ask them about segregation. Ask them about Reconstruction. I'm just saying. I mean, you can erase. They can try to erase all that they want.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but they trying to erase history. They try and erase history.
Now, the crazy thing is, everybody always want to run away from race. Don't talk about race, all of these things. Now, how can you solve a problem or try to bridge the gap if you don't even want to talk about the issue? And the crazy thing is, if we want to solve this issue, it's simple. Now, I'm going to get into that a little bit later on how to solve this issue. But I want you to listen to this brother speak about his experience when he actually bought the Confederate flag and the things that transpired after this dude bought this Confederate flag. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a crazy story, but at the same time, it's very educational. And I believe that we need these conversations so that we could bridge this gap to try and put an end to racism. Because like I said, you cannot solve a problem without speaking about it. Just tell me one treaty that was signed where the two parties did not have a discussion about the issues they were having. I'll wait for it.
3 days later.
That's the point. You can't. You know good and well in your heart of hearts, you cannot solve this issue or eradicate racism unless we speak about it and come to solutions. But without further ado, let's watch what happened when this black brother bought this Confederate flag.
How I came to buy this. So I get a call from one of my friends who had just visited this flea market, and he said that they have a bunch of cool stuff. Me, flea market's cool. I'm in there. I go to this flea market in this very rural area in Indiana. Now, this is deep red Indiana territory. Fits perfectly down there with Alabama and Mississippi.
Yo, brother got some kahunas because I don't think I'd be caught dead in the middle of an area like that, man. Because us black folks, like, when we're in the presence of someplace we feel that we're not wanted, straight up, we know we get up out of there with the quickness. If we walk in and we get the side eye, like, we about face and we're out. Like, yo, sorry for the intrusion, and we're out of there. But this brother stood his ground.
I walk in and I see it is a large crowd of older white people, 50 and up.
Yep.
They are looking at me like I just walked off of a UFO. As I'm walking around, I'm seeing a lot of Confederate flag themed memorabilia. So with all these white people here, I said I'm going to buy one of these flags because I want to see what their reaction is to a black guy buying a Confederate flag. So I got it and I'm carrying it very visibly so everybody can see that I have it. And I definitely got their attention. I'm in line and this younger white dude says, "Man, I got to ask you, why you buying the Confederate flag?" And I can tell he asked what a lot of people were wondering. So
Yep.
a lot of ears start to tune in. And I asked him, "What do you think I got it for?" And he said, "Hopefully to burn it or wipe your ass with it." I got a teammate. The room was full of people that were like his racist grandparents he didn't like. Immediately after he says that, an older white lady says,
That's so unpatriotic. Why would you want to be disrespectful to American heritage?
and I'm like, "Youngster, stand down. I got this." "Ma'am, you are right and you are completely wrong about something. You are right about the fact that it is American heritage, but it is a side of American heritage. And that side wanted to preserve the institution of slavery and felt that blacks were subhuman. So it is American heritage, but it is reflective of the team that you are playing on when it comes to American heritage.
Facts.
And what you are
Facts.
completely wrong about is the Confederacy is the most unpatriotic group of people in American history. Patriotism is loyalty to your country and the person chosen to run your country. In this case, Abraham Lincoln was elected president of the United States, and the United States had chose a direction, and the Confederacy did not agree with that and wanted to succeed from the United States. They engaged in an act of war against the government. If the Confederates were patriots, they would have followed the direction that the country was going and the leader that was elected to run this country. What they did was they chose to pick up arms and go to war against the United States of America. That is the most treasonous, unpatriotic thing in American history.
Mm. One could say the same thing about the insurrection. No, it was a riot. It was a riot at the Capitol.
Then an older white guy chimes in and he says this.
Well, why do y'all always blame America for slavery? Slavery was in Africa. Slavery was in Rome. Slavery existed a lot of other places outside of America.
Oh my gosh. How many times have you heard this argument? Like every time you bring up slavery, you always hear this argument. But nobody says this about the Holocaust. Nobody say this about any other homicide, genocide, or inhumane act that ever happened. But when it comes to slavery in America, you always hear this rebuttal. Like you always, it never fails. Like you could just sit back and wait for it if you speak about slavery.
Sir, there is one ingredient in American slavery that made it completely different from any other form of slavery that existed on the planet before it. And that ingredient was based on a pseudoscience saying that the people being subjugated were not even a part of the human race. They were not Homo sapiens. They were subhuman. So the people being enslaved were not even being considered human beings. Slavery in other places never had that element. In Rome and Africa, the people being subjugated were not seen as not being human. It was based solely on might is right. I defeated you. You can't beat me. Go take care of my cattle. But the idea that Africans were not even humans made American slavery totally different.
I always say this. Slavery in other countries, he's right, was I conquered you, so now I'm going to enslave your people. Those who want to rock with us, or we see that they are willing to conform and, fight for us, you can join the team. But the rest, you're going to be slaves. So you at least had a fighting chance. This was just, straight up, I'm going to purchase people as my property, and that's the end of it. So it's a different dynamic. And like he said, when you view them as subhuman and all of these other things, that also makes it different from what was going on around, around the world.
It was more dehumanizing than any other form of slavery that existed
Yep.
on the planet before. This isn't an American ingenuity. If I own you and you have a kid, I own your kid. And if your kid has a kid, I own that kid. I own your whole bloodline. It is an egregious miscalculation to equate slavery in Africa, slavery in Rome, and what the was going on in America. Then I hear this.
And I got a lot of those flags around my house, and I don't understand why people get all in a tizzy about this.
Yeah, we always hear that. It's crazy because nobody has a swastika because they know how offensive it is. And the crazy thing is that the swastika sign was hijacked from an Asian, like that was something that's an Asian culture. And Asians are actually trying to see if they can, flip it so that it goes back to the original meaning. But since something so egregious happened, that's kind of a hard fight. You get what I'm saying? Because it's that offensive to a group of people because we all know what took place during those times. So I really don't understand how you willingly know something is egregious to a group of people and remind them of a time that was so dehumanizing that you're okay to actually still rock it. So that's just
Mind blowing. Isn't that like amazing? You gotta admit that amazing, right?
Okay, ma'am, let me ask you this. If we was in Germany and somebody was flying the little mustache guy's flag and
he said
saying
what I
that
was
it was
saying.
a part of German heritage, do you think that would be right?
It is a part of German heritage. I don't see why it would be disrespectful.
Youngster, this
Mm.
super racist. She had a little boy with her, and I asked her, was that her grandson or something? She says yes, he was autistic. So I told her, ma'am, do you realize that if you lived in Germany at that time, your grandson would have been euthanized
Mm.
under the Nazi regime? Shut her ass up. The rest of them are looking dumbfounded, and youngster looking like we just won the Super Bowl. Got to the parking lot, chopped it up with youngster. He's super cool. He invited me to his bonfire where we burning this damn thing.
Yo, dude handled that like a G. I like the way he handled that. I wish I was in that room so I could like see everybody's expressions and like kind of read the room to see like, everybody's reaction. But what he said, like, can you argue it? Where's the lie? Like, seriously, where's the lie? It seems like it's my generation and up where they don't want to have these conversations. And like I said, how can you bring change or eradicate something if you don't want to speak about it? Because when you don't want to speak about it, that tells me that you still hold on to some of those values. When it comes to situations like this, having these conversations, all it takes is just to listen. Like, that's literally it. All it takes is accepting the accountability. Now, I don't even want to say accountability. All it takes is for you not to deny what actually happened. Because here's the thing. If you can erase history and act like it didn't happen, that's how you can get history to repeat itself. Because what do we always say? We learn about history so that history don't repeat itself. So then why are we trying to erase the history of what happened to black folks in the country? That tells me, or that tells us, yo, you really want this to happen again. So you kind of look at a person with a side eye when it's like, oh, why you want to talk about race? Don't talk about race. No, you want to talk about it so that history don't repeat itself, and you don't want to forget it so that history don't repeat itself. And it's crazy. I guarantee you, if you got into a conversation with a black person and they're talking about slavery and all these things that happened, right? And you say, dag, that is really messed up. I acknowledge that all these things happened. How do we move on from here? No matter what rant that person was going on, I guarantee you they're going to switch gears. But what keeps them feeling some type of way going on is because they're met with the yeah, buts or trying to make every excuse for the conversation. Having these conversations does not mean that we're looking at white folks of today and saying everybody is racist, all of these things. No, it's kind of like if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whatever the case may be, and you're doing everything right, and then out of the blue, you just catch the person cheating. You literally catch them red-handed, have all the proof and everything like that. And when you confront them about it and want to move on and move past it, they don't acknowledge that they cheated. They're making every excuse about cheating. How are you supposed to move past that? You literally can't. So if you have a black person who is going through life looking at it as, yo, racism don't exist, whatever the case may be, and then they get slapped in the face where they see like, yo, this was racist, and they talk about it, and it's like, oh no, it wasn't racist. You do everything to undermine them. How can you move past race if you can't even acknowledge what like what I'm going through or what this person is going through? So, like I said in the beginning, it's a simple process to eradicate racism. Acknowledge that it happened and don't try to act like it didn't happen. If you acknowledge that it happened, you acknowledge that this country has a very racist history. That's how you start to eradicate racism. But you have a lot of folks who want to play these games, play these verbiage, this yeah, but and everything, and try and compare slavery to every other scenario, but every other atrocity that happened, you never see they try and make a comparison. Only when it comes to slavery in America. Those are the ones that are making it hard to eradicate slavery. Until we can cross that bridge as Americans, unfortunately, racism will always show its ugly head time and time again, which is causing more and more of a divide amongst us, where at the end of the day, we should be having stronger communities, building stronger communities, and living in unison. Because at the end of the day, we as Americans in the human race, we are designed to work together so that we can pursue further avenues of success and make a better life for my kids, your kids, their kids, everybody. With that being said, I hope you guys don't take this as a video of trying to race bash or speak about hate. No, that conversation that gentleman had with those people are the conversations that we need to have to move past this race thing. Because if I'm telling you this is highly offensive to me, no matter how you feel about it, whatever the case may be, that should be the only reason you need to do away with whatever it is that is offensive to me. Just like if something is offensive to you and you tell me about it, no matter how I feel about it, I should do everything in my power to eradicate that so I don't be offensive to you. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I would love to hear your take on the matter. If it's your first time here, consider hitting that subscribe button and clicking that notification bell. Like this video, share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our other platforms. The links are in the description. I'm your boy, Walls P. This is Matter of Opinion, and I will catch you, ladies and gentlemen, on the next episode. Peace.
It's a matter of opinion.